Everyone, welcome back to the shop. Welcome back to more fun with the limo. And I hope everyone's having a great day. I hope everyone had a really great weekend. It was absolutely beautiful here. Had a wonderful time this weekend. Got a lot of stuff done in the limo. And one of the things that I figured out, and I wanted to show you guys this because it's one of those things that's a transition between older cars and newer cars that I think a lot of people who build stuff get kind of caught in. And so I wanted to give you guys kind of a heads up on, hey, you might actually see this when you're working on older stuff and trying to put new stuff on it. This is also a lot of the reason why they do new wire harnesses for vehicles, like just standalone harnesses, because it works a lot better with modern electronics. So I'm going to show you something fun with the limo, and you guys can take it as a kind of a heads up. So what the limo has is, I don't know what to call it. I want to call it a ground lift, but it's actually like a ground transfer. Let's see who's here. Oh, hey, Nikki. And hey, Nova. Hopefully, let's see. Yeah, Nova should be curled up right now. Yeah, she's she should be sleeping. So Nova, you can watch this later. Nikki, you can watch it now. Nova can watch it later. Um, yeah, one of the things that they do on older cars is I'm not sure the correct technical term, but I call it a ground lift or a ground transfer. And what happens is your light bulbs are always powered, and then you have a ground that is moved between the two. Now, in old incandescent bulbs, it doesn't really care which side gets power and which side gets ground. So you can do that. And so what happens is on this car, the top sections, the tail light at the top section is turn signal and brake. The one at the bottom is just brake. So what happens when you turn on the turn signal, it'll move that ground from one to the other. And now it's grounding out both of those bulbs. When you turn the turn signal on, it will remove that ground up at the turn signal switch, and it'll bring it over here and send it to the flasher relay. So now you have a ground there. So this bulb will flash and this one will stay on. And it's a process of just moving the grounds. And now here's the fun part. In the car, they run a bunch of different grounds. So you have grounds for the taillights, grounds for the turn signals, ground for the license plate light, a ground for, you have all these different grounds and power. So it's not a single ground that just goes to the chassis. That does, but you need it for each individual component too. So you can call it a ground lift or a ground transfer, however you want to call it. Depending on the situation, I'll call it a ground lift or a ground transfer. It's kind of, it's a very old school way of doing it, but the reason they do it is, number one, it's pretty cheap. Number two, it's kind of idiot proof. And number three, it's very reliable. Let's see, we got more questions. Speaking of turn signals, mine went out today in the Subi. Oh, no. All right. Well, we're going to talk about that in a second, because what I have are the LED turn signals for the limo, which is different than the incandescent bulbs that were originally in there. So I'll show you how it's currently wired up as far as I got before I can't really do anything else. So let me show you guys what I've got with the limo, and what I'll try and explain what's happening. So right now, if I hit the brake lights, I'm going to use my big 5-foot cane here. If I hit the brake lights, I get the turn signals, because that ground is actually grounding out one of the bulbs, which it thinks is the brake light. But there's a different ground for the turn signals. So now I'll key on the car. You can hear the license plate drop down and gauges fire up, and we have a little less than half a tank of gas. We're doing pretty good. So now if I hit the brakes again, I'm going to get the same thing, because those are actually the turn signals. Here's the left turn signal, and then here's the right turn signal. So what I have is, the LEDs share one ground. and they each have their own signal wire versus the old school way, which has a signal wire for everything and it moves the ground. So it's sort of the opposite. The LEDs are far more efficient, draw a lot less current than the old incandescents. So the good news is you're going to be running a much more efficient car. Your battery's not going to get used as hard, although turn signals are kind of negligible, and driving lights and stuff are not really a huge draw on the battery or any of the system. But headlights are, and especially the headlights I'm going to put in this would be, even though they're LED, they'll be a pretty good draw. So you don't really worry about that stuff, but we want to run the most efficient system possible. And when you're doing builds like this, you run into stuff that is kind of getting rid of the old school method so that you can use the new school method. And as much as I don't want to do it, that means I have to rewire the back end of the car. So the good news is this is 100 feet, and this is 18 gauge or 20 gauge cable. And it has enough for me to do both taillights and the reverse light and the license plate light all the way around. We're not using the side marker lights. We're just using those as reflectors. And that's how the car is going to get wired up. So what I am going to do is I'm going to run that whole new wiring system from this side all the way around, over the wheel well, down past the hot tub, below the door, up over the dash, into the steering wheel, into the steering column switch. And that's what controls it: the hazards, the steering column, or the turn signals, and then a separate line will go down to the brake switch. So we're just running power to those individual ones. We'll keep a single ground up here in the corner. That way, whenever we hit power to whatever, the brake lights or the turn signals, it will send the signal power instead of trying to swap the ground over. It also works kind of good. It works better this way because when you're swapping grounds over, it's a lot easier to get a short when you're swapping grounds over. So I kind of like just having one single ground, and it'll be back here in this corner. It helps everything run more efficient. We'll take some of the old wiring out, which has obviously been crudded up. I mean, here's one of the old brake light sockets, and this thing's been painted and repainted and screwed around and abused, and I don't even know what the hell's going on in there. So that stuff will all get redone, and we'll run new wire. Should be a little bit better protected. It's going to be a much lower draw, so we don't have to run as large a gauge wire. That's kind of it. I didn't want to come on here and show you guys something that I had already done and try and explain it. So I wanted to show you beforehand what I'd figured out with the current wiring, and then kind of give you a heads up on what's coming up. So now you'll know, hey, this is what he did before, and here's the solution. So when I get everything wired up correctly with the brakes, with the turn signals, with the reverse lights are going to come later because we don't have a reverse switch in the shifter yet. And the license plate light we won't do until we have the headlights hooked up. But all of the wiring will be there ready for that stuff. So I'll show you guys basically the brake lights and the turn signals, which are the two far more important things because this car hasn't had them for God knows how many decades. So now we're going to have these really nice, and these are awesome because they also do brake lights. So there's the signals that you guys saw, then there's red, and then there's clear for the reverse. So it'll look really cool when it's all done. There's a pair of these per side, and it should look really nice when it's all done, and it'll definitely work great. So if you guys have any questions, comments, whatever, definitely let me know. I can show you how this stuff gets wired up. It's pretty self-explanatory. The downside is you kind of have to run a modern system versus the old ground lift or ground swap system. So that's the downside. But yeah, if you have any questions, hit me up, and comments. I love those from you guys. And thanks to all the new subscribers. I saw a couple of new folks sign on, and I appreciate that. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. If you want, feel free to spread the word. It's supposed to be a really nice week here in Florida, so we'll probably have the limo out, which means we'll be doing a lot more stuff, doing some video for the the Hot Tub Limo YouTube channel, and we'll try and get some more video and get that thing up and moving. And hopefully, you guys like that too. That's about it for tonight. So Mark's over here. We're gonna get to. He's probably gonna hold the wire, and I'm gonna be the one that's crawling around underneath the car. I don't think he wants to get under it. He's smart, so that's why he doesn't want to get in there. But yeah, we'll get this thing wired up and we'll get it tested, and then we'll come back later this week and I'll show you guys how everything got wired up and what I'm talking about with the single ground. So thanks everyone for hanging out tonight. I really appreciate it. I apologize that it was so quick, and I also apologize for kind of wiring these up. But you can see I just have them just temporary. So I'll have something much more thorough for you guys next time, and we'll definitely do a longer stream. And that's about it for tonight. Don't forget to show someone that you love them today. Give them a kiss on the cheek. Give them a kiss on the tip of their nose. Hold their hand. Give it a squeeze. It is really important for them. But it's far more important for you. All right, cool. Everyone have a good night. We will talk to you soon. All right, awesome. Yeah, I love brake lights. Oh, look, there's a rock star.